Okay.
Kind of got a couple. Appreciate thank them for being here and stuff. Yes, sir. Good afternoon. I want to first thank my my incredible attorney, A. Scott Bolden. I feel very vindicated, and all the hard work and his insights has served us very, very well. I want to also thank you guys for coming out in order for me to say these words and to kind of express the relief and, well, I have some words that we put together here. Okay, today is a great day of vindication. I'm vindicated for a number of reasons, but most of all, I'm vindicated because a group of political figures who try to use my small business, me, and a baseless investigation. There was a bus going by. Y'all want to do that part again?
Just go.
You got okay.
Yeah.
I'm blocking the mic.
Right.
I'm sorry about that.
Just start from the beginning.
I do it from the beginning, guys, so we can do it right. I apologize. Today is a day of great vindication. I'm vindicated for a number of reasons, but most of all, I'm vindicated because a group of political officials who try to use me, my small business, and in baseless investigation to attack my close friends now have reaped the consequences of the lies, manipulation, and the corruption they used to attain power. They tried to do so by speaking lies and misinformation to truth. They tried to speak of a man with a failed dry cleaners, but failed to speak of a man who expanded a single dry cleaner to a chain of 4 stores in 4 years. They failed to mention the dry cleaners would secure contracts with several hotel chains, including Marriott, Embassy Suites, the Savoy, and secure contracts with University of Maryland, Catholic University, Howard University, Walter Reed, and several other government agencies while under Mayor Anthony Williams. And most of all, they failed to mention the numerous jobs I provided to DC residents, or the fact that I spent more time washing clothes of struggling families and mothers and fathers than the time I spent with paid clients. They would speak of a man who started an engineering firm with no experience, they said. They said no experience, but they failed to mention I actually had experience. The more than 15 years of experience I had mass perfected my craft. They would fail to mention the numerous prestigious engineering companies that I've worked for, like Honeywell, Pillsbury, the McDonnell Douglas Corporation, the architect of the Capitol, and the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. They failed to mention my experience performing testing and the development for the Space Shuttle maiden controllers. They designing incubators for babies or designing the roadways in Macon County, Alabama.
Slow down. Take your time.
Okay, I'm kind of excited. I apologize. I'm gonna slow down, y'all. I'm kind of juiced up, y'all. It's been a while. I ain't said nothing, so all right.
I haven't let you say anything.
Yes, sir. Here, humbly. All right. They failed to mention I was the first African-American student named to the National Board of American Society of Mechanical Engineers. They would speak of a man who had influence and connection in local politics, but they failed to mention that influence was spawned by my many years of advocacy and for justice. They failed to mention I was elected ANC commissioner 3 times. They failed to mention I bought a crack house on Georgia Avenue and turned it into a business to serve the community. They failed to mention I organized neighbors to fight crime and take back the streets. They failed to mention I fought against gentrification and the destruction of black-owned business. They failed to mention the influence was garnered not by fraternity ties, not by what school I went to or my family connection or who my daddy was, but it was conceived by a lifetime of hard work and dedication to a community and for the love and respect for the others that have been committed to public service. But today, the one thing that makes me happiest out of all this, the thing that makes me happy is that a good friend of mine who spent his life and time and energy trying to make this a better place with better city services, better schools, and less crime, Adrian Fenty, has been vindicated by this report. And we appreciate that the report came out. We wish it had came out sooner. And that now we can take this time to move on and deal with real issues that affect the people in the District of Columbia. I'll take questions, a few questions, let's.
You say that you were vindicated, but the report is being referred to the U.S. Attorney's Office. And some of the council members are saying it's because there's the possibility of perjury and that you and others didn't give information and cooperate with the investigations.
We did hours and hours of testimony. We cooperated. There's never been a problem with investigating. What they've done is had a smear campaign. I think it's the right of the people to make sure the monies that are being used to do the things that are necessary in this government are investigated. There's no problem with that. They need to get the corruption out of government. But don't use that to smear people. Don't use that time to make people look bad before you even get a report. They held off on this report for 1.5 years, and now they come out, and at the end of the day, there's no steering, no undue influence. And I've been saying it the whole time, but more than that, get the facts first and then come out. But they use this investigation for campaigns, for all kind of things. None of this really getting to the bottom line as what was going on with the people's money of the district. So as far as any investigation they got to do, I have no problem with investigation.
No,
but don't use those. But don't use that stuff for smear campaigns.
Karen, let me be real clear though. This report has vindicated Adrian Fenty, Omar Kareem, and Sinclair Skinner unequivocally. If you look at the report, it either finds no wrongdoing or no further investigation necessary on every issue connected to the DPR contracting process. That's undeniable. The only referrals in this report have to do with my clients and my clients' private business, private financial transfers, and how they handled subcontractors. If you compare the referrals to what the scope of this investigation was and what the council was looking at originally, it's right there in black and white. One has nothing to do with the other. And it has been our position from day one in the depositions, in the investigation. All of you have heard me say this before. My clients have refused to answer questions about their financial dealings that were unconnected and disconnected to the DPR contracting procurement process. It's fully a defensible position, and you'll see that the only referrals were because we wouldn't let Mr. Trout and the council go traipsing through my clients' financial records. Nor should they be allowed to do that. And so I think it is full vindication. And I also think this too. These referrals, if they leave the council, are going to be dead on arrival because they're completely irrelevant, immaterial, non-probative, and irrelevant to this investigation.
Mr. Bolton, talk about the private business records being irrelevant, but this report found that there's payments from general contractors who ended up getting contracts from your client, getting paid significant and substantial payments just before the contracts were up.
Not true. Not true. Not true. Look at the report. The report indicates that there were financial payments to private entities owned by my clients, but not the entities that contracted with DPR. A fundamental difference, because these were private contractual matters. You cannot link apples and oranges. You can link apples and apples and oranges with oranges, but not those two.
You have the appearance of a serious conflict of interest. It doesn't matter whether these are separate entities. You're talking about whether I have a company A and company B. If I have company B, how am I supposed to explain to the public that those are two different entities?
Yeah, but as private citizens and private companies, there is no explanation, nor is there a need. There's not public money. That's my point. See, you're confusing public money with private money. Those transactions between Liberty Law, right? Liberty Law and other companies either owned by Mr. Skinner or owned by Omar Kareem were private dollars. Nowhere in that report will you find a link. Listen to me now. Listen to me and read the report. There is absolutely no link between public dollars, that $4 million, and the transfer of funds between these entities owned by my clients or the subcontractors who paid Liberty Law. Absolutely no link. So you cannot make that connection.
To clear up any confusion about this matter, can you explain what these business transactions were in that case?
The business transactions that are outlined in the report?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not going to explain those business transactions. There's a private contractual matters between private companies not subject to the broad jurisdiction of the DC Council. It merits no explanation.
Questions about what these contracts were.
Well,
You would just say community consulting.
Go right ahead.
Let me say this. Listen.
A. Scott Bolden, B-O-L-D-E-N.
Let me be very clear. I do feel very vindicated. So first of all, again, thank you. All these contracts, all the business that we do, I've been in business for years. I have relationships and contracts and done business with different people who I've known for years. When this investigation came out, they wanted to know what information was germane to the dollars being spent to do these capital projects. Okay, so we go into a hearing. I'm preparing for all the questions related to the DPR contracts. They start asking me questions like, who did you go to college with and what was your relationship and when did you meet him? Now listen, I didn't prepare for that, I'll be candid. And I wasn't gonna guess. I wasn't gonna try to make up my response. What I did was I answered all those things that I knew for a fact wouldn't come back and somebody say, well, no, you didn't meet him there, you met him here. I answered every question that was related to this investigation. The questions were, the investigation, and I think we somehow get sidetracked with this, the investigation was about how some money went from the Department of Parks and Rec to the Housing Authority. Next thing you know, they started asking me, where was I 5 years ago, and did I know somebody?
No, they asked you if you recognized your signature on a check, and you said, I don't recall. I mean, they said you don't have any credibility in the report. They said you stonewalled it, and they said you have no credibility based on the fact that you said, I don't recall for several answers.
Well, let me give you an example. That's a perfect example. If somebody hands you a document that you've never seen before, and they ask you, is this your signature? I was very clear. I'm not going to, first of all, if I've never seen that document, I'm not about to guess and say that's my signature. I don't remember signing it, and I don't even remember the document. So you ask me about a document that has, and again, I'm preparing for a DPR contract. They bring up a document and say, hey, is this your signature? Now, I'm already wondering, like, why are they bringing up this document and I've never seen before, and now they ask me, is this my signature? So what I'm going to say is I don't remember that signature. I'm going to be very clear that if I don't know, I'm not going to guess. And I had very clear understanding of the ramifications of my answers. I was not about to start guessing at documents I'd never seen before. And I think you would do the same thing if you were in my situation and somebody hands you something and you've never seen it before. Is that your signature? I don't recall. Period.